So this is the passage on page 125 to 126. And going into this passage, Tom has just realized that Daisy is cheating on him with Gatsby. Now, Tom, Gatsby, Daisy, Nick, and Jordan are all heading to town, while Tom is really on edge, and the tension between all the characters is rising to a big climax. This passage is introduced with the sentence, "There is no confusion like the confusion of a simple mind," which is used to foreshadow the chaos created by someone confused, not intelligent enough to deal with it properly. And what this usually puts in my mind is the image of a defenseless animal just hiding in a corner, cowering and not sure what to do. Then the passage continues by displaying Tom's actions through his emotions. The words "hop whips of panic" use a harsh tone of whips to illustrate Tom's violent nature and how it showed itself through the panic. When Nick says that things were slipping precipitately from his control, he means that Tom began to not only worry about Daisy's fading love to him, but he also was worrying about his other love, Myrtle, which left him distressed over the idea of being left alone with no woman at all. By the use of the word instinct in the next sentence, saying instinct made him step on the accelerator with the double purpose of overtaking Daisy and leaving Wilson behind, and we sped along toward Astoria, shows that Tom felt as if the severity of his situation was comparable to the threat of his survival. The car which held Gatsby and Daisy was described as blue and easygoing, with the color blue taking on the connotation of smooth and relaxed, contrasting to Tom's rushed panic that was just described. In the next paragraph, Jordan notices Tom's overwhelming emotions and tries to ease the tension by giving a positive view of the summer. She mentions that even though it is hot, she loves summer afternoons when everyone's away, and describes it as sensuous, but later realizes the effect that word may have on Tom, and that is the purpose of the dash in her dialogue. She tries to correct herself by using the word overripe instead, followed by a simile to further assert her correction, and hopes that it'll bring attention away from it. However, Tom does notice, and he begins to invent a protest. This phrase depicts how Tom already felt on edge, and he was just itching to lash out at someone. Then Daisy signals Tom, Nick, and Jordan to pull over so she could talk to them and lay out a plan. When she does so, she is said to cry and complain, which gives off a whiny tone that shows how, unlike Jordan, she has little care to calm Tom. Then she even offers to Tom that, "You go, we'll ride around and meet you after." This tests Tom's trust and patience in Daisy to leave her with the man he believes she's cheating with. Another important thing that Daisy mentions is the heat. The heat is mentioned time after time throughout this chapter, and it serves to be an irritant to all of the characters and heighten the tension. Daisy's plan included meeting on some corner, while Tom insisted they follow to the south side of Central Park, in front of the plaza. This again shows the contrast between Daisy's calmness and Tom's frantic state. And the reason why Tom is saying such specific detail is because he's trying to regain any control he can. He feels as if his mistress and his wife are slipping away from him, and he's trying to grab onto anything he can. Just like the heat, the personification cursing whistle is used to provide irritation to the characters, this time from the environment rather than one another. When Gatsby was following Tom, Tom felt as if Gatsby and Daisy would dart down a side street and out of his life forever, which is an unreasonable and exaggerated belief, but it shows how Tom is really unraveling, and he's starting to go into these wild assertions. This point is proved by the next sentence. But they didn't, whose shortness and lack of explanation implies that the answer to Tom's problem is really obvious. In this last paragraph, the group enters a hotel room together. Nick claims, "The prolonged and tumultuous argument that ended by herding us into that room eludes me, though I have a sharp physical memory that, in the course of it, my underwear kept climbing like a damp snake around my legs, and the intermittent beads of sweat raced cool across my back." This simile, followed by metaphor, followed by personification, all imply that the heat was getting underneath everyone's skin, even Nick's. And that the feeling of it was so profound, it was the only thing Nick remembered in that moment. He didn't notice any discussions that were going on around him. He could only pay attention to the feeling of this disgusting heat. Then, in the last sentence, it states, "We all talked at once to a baffled clerk and thought, or pretended to think, that we were being very funny." The group tries to be casually humorous to play off the tension around them, but, like it says, they were just pretending. At this point, no one has mentioned the white elephant in the room, which is the fact that Daisy's cheating. And so the conflict is left unresolved by the end of this passage, as Fitzgerald uses his intense style and word choice to create this agitating situation.